Harden did not play. He did show up, got showered with booze, and then got to see his teammates have a field day against the Sixers. KD and Kyrie combining for 47 points in this one, so bittersweet night. Finally, a complete game out of Brooklyn as the Sixers fell apart. Nets win big. Broussard, I'll start with you. What did Brooklyn prove last night?
Well, I thought they showed that, look, when they're whole, or really I should say close to whole, because obviously Ben Simmons still wasn't playing, that they can play with and beat anyone in the league. Now, there are big questions to whenever they'll be whole, not just with Simmons, but obviously whenever will Kyrie be able to play every game. All right, so there's that. But there are no more big threes in the league. They've got a big two that can go and get theirs against anybody, and they got a bunch of good role players. And so that's what they proved. They also, Twan, showed a heart and a level of mental toughness that I don't know if a lot of people gave them credit for. They're kind of viewed as a finesse team. And then because Kyrie is quirky and does his thing off the court, I don't know if people give them credit for being a really tough team. But last night, they showed heart. Like I said it earlier, Kyrie wanted James Harden. He talked about it before the game, how, he has no hard feelings with Harden, but he wishes they had communicated better. And then he went out there last night. You don't see top players anymore, Twan, guarding each other a lot, even when they're the same position. And Kyrie is 3 inches shorter than Harden. And he still wanted that matchup. We know he's not a great defender, but last night he was active defensively and challenged Harden. KD going at it with Joel Embiid, who's twice his size is not height, but, otherwise. KD wasn't backing down. Andre Drummond guarded Embiid tough early before he hurt his ankle. And so they looked really strong. James Johnson came out the bench, played his best game in maybe years, or one of his best games for sure, with the 5-block shot. So, Twan, I thought the Nets showed that if they get whole, even without Ben Simmons, if they just get Kyrie for full time, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the East, and they showed major league heart last night.
I agree with you with all those takes, but for me, leaving that game, watching that game, I felt like that we saw probably the second best team in the Eastern Conference. I don't know if they're ready. I'm ready to put them over the Milwaukee Bucks yet, but they are the second best team. When they get whole, they get Ben Simmons, because you saw last night, they don't need Ben Simmons to score the basketball. When you think about the additions of Steph Curry, Patty Mills, and then you got Joe Harris, who's sitting out. So when they get whole, Ben Simmons can be Ben Simmons, where he can rebound, assist, be in the open court, be great, and more importantly, just defend. And this is a perfect fit for him. Once Kyrie we get over this vaccination situation, they're going to be a tough team to deal with for the next 3, 4, maybe 5 years. So this core is still young. I know Durant's cut on the backside of this thing, but they showed me a lot last night. And I take that from the magnitude of the game. This was a playoff game. I don't know. And it's funny, everybody may say, oh, it's one game. It was not one game. As a player, an ex-player, it's certain games on the schedule that you circle. This is one you could tell KD circled and Kyrie. They were prepared. Yeah. They was focused. Their energy level
Harden
was
didn't
up.
circle it.
They were ready to go. So you got to believe that those guys, when this team gets whole, they're going to be scary, man. You saw a different team last night. And I'm going to tell you who the steal of that trade was. The steal of this trade was Andre Drummond. They got younger. They got younger. They got younger. They got stronger in the middle. Now you're not dealing with guys who's at the end of their career, LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin. You got a guy who can catch, who can finish, and then you got a young big and Nicholas Claxton. So now you got a real 12 fouls and two guys that can be very active. Look out for Brooklyn when they get home.
Oh, Antoine, I'm so happy you're here, and I'm glad Broussard is back on the Nets Kool-Aid. This is my happy place, where the Nets show a flash of what they could be if they weren't just a figment of our imagination. And immediately everyone pretends that they're not currently, the 8 seed. That when Kyrie comes, right now, by the way, even if New York changes its laws, you know who's not? Toronto, which is where the Nets would be in play-in game number 1 at Toronto. So they'd be without Kyrie for that. But forget that. Here's the thing, because I love it. And this is, by the way, in an individual game or even an individual series, of course they're scary because of Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant was good, but not even out of this world last night. And he looked like the best guy on the court. This is why the other day when we were like, who's more dangerous, Boston or Brooklyn? I thought it was so silly. It's like Brooklyn, obviously, because they have Kevin Durant. With that said, Wilds, they are, in my opinion, underdogs to make it out of round 1. And they have no shot to make it out of round 2. Okay, well, let's just be clear here. Antoine just said he'd have them as second best to Milwaukee. They might play Milwaukee in round 1. If you are in the play-in, you are playing either the 1 or the 2 seed. So if you think, and by the way, people are discounting as they always do, Antoine though won't, the Miami Heat culture, Jimmy Butler, Eric Spoelstra, they might be the Brooklyn's round 1 playoff opponent. The idea that Brooklyn, which is, has been a 500-ish team throughout the year, that they are going to win. They might have to win back-to-back play-in games, if not win the play-in game, then go win 4 out of 7 against the Heat or this Sixers team or Milwaukee, and then win another series just to get to the conference finals. We have never seen that level of consistency from this team. So would I be happy if I were the 1 seed and I ended up with the Nets? Of course not. Of course I'd rather end up with the Cavs if they were to fall down or the Raptors, whomever. But do I think the Nets are going to go 1 step further in the playoffs this year than they did last year? Last year where they were the greatest team ever to lose in round 2? No, I don't. I think they'll be very fortunate to get to round 2. That's what I think.
But we haven't seen the real Nets. This was the biggest step towards the real Nets that we've seen, and Ben was in a beautiful Louis Vuitton sweater. And the biggest thing that I thought was proven last night, Antoine, was the biggest thing that was proven was the Nets are better friends than I am. For me, Antoine, it takes a good 6 months before I'm willing to really ride for you. Kevin Durant and Kyrie are like, Ben is our brother. Kyrie after the game. If you come at Ben, you come at us. This dude just joined the team. And I felt like there was worries about the chemistry on the squad. He's new. Seth is new. Andre's new. Ben is new. And it felt like the Nets really rode for Ben in a way that I didn't expect. Were you surprised that the Nets were so energized almost by the vitriol that was shown to Simmons, that they took it as a personal affront to their team? I thought it was a great sign of their team unity.
I thought it was great. I read the comments and saw some of the things that they said afterwards. But I can understand. But you got to remember, KD and Kyrie were ready for this game. James Harden left them. They're not coming out publicly and saying, but they was feeling a certain type of way. And we know KD and Embiid have had some words in the past. And also, KD and Kyrie know they want to see where they at. This hasn't been a great season. They've been hurt. They haven't had a whole roster. When you talk about 2 superstars, 2 guys who go is to win a championship, this was a perfect, let's see where we at. Let's go out here and come out with a playoff mentality, and let's see how far we're away if we can really do this. Let me tell you something. We wondered, when they first put KD and Kyrie Irving together, we wondered what was going to be the pieces around them. I got to give Sean Marks credit. Even though it's not the greatest way they did it, they finally got the pieces around them to be good for multiple years. They need to re-sign Drummond. Ben Simmons will be back. You got Steph Curry. You got Patty Mills. You got Joe Harris. They got great pieces to play with these 2 superstars who can score, who has unbelievable offensive package. I know they may not get it done. Nick, they may be right. The seeding may hurt them this year and not playing together. But this team will be something to reckon with for multiple years. I just saw that last night. I think KD and Kyrie probably left there like, man, we could be really good. When we get Ben, we're going to be really good. We finally got our team in place.
No, look, on paper, you love them. And I want to throw this at Nick. Nick, you're talking about them like Kyrie's not going to be